Today we're going to be doing some notes on diamond problems and multiplying binomials. We're going to go back and forth between the worksheet that I posted, titled Classwork, Diamond Problems, and Multiplying Binomials, and our composition book. And this is review, or I should say this, well, it's a little bit of review, but it's going to be also a little intro to integrated 2. So we're going to start out with this worksheet on the diamond problems. So just a little review, a little reminder when we're doing this. I'm just going to zoom up here and get a little blank spot. That when we have a diamond problem, whatever numbers we have on the side, so let's just say it's A and B. I'm just going to use those as my variables for my numbers. I'm going to take whatever's on the side, I'm going to multiply them together, and I'm going to have that be the top, so A times B, AB, and then I'm going to add them together, and I'm going to get the bottom, A plus B. That's how we do diamond problems, okay? So if you're doing this as a video, I'm going to be doing the first one, and then if you want to pause, do the rest, and then restart so you can check your answers, okay? So again on this, we're going to be multiplying these sides to get the top. So that's going to be positive 33. I'm going to be adding these, and when I add these, I get a negative 14. So again, we're going to multiply these two numbers to get the top, and we're going to add these two to get the bottom. So right now, I'm going to write the word pause. And you guys can pause this and then do the rest of them on your own, and then you can come back and check your answers. Okay, so at this point, press pause. Okay, so now I'm going to go through these answers with us. Okay, so let me just get this spread out here a little more. So this first one, well, I should say number 2, when I multiply these, we should have gotten a negative 20. And when we add, we get a positive 1. When we have different signs, your top number, your product is always going to be a negative. And what we're really doing is, if you're thinking about that 5 and the 4, you're really subtracting them. You're finding the difference between them, and then you're taking the sign of the bigger number. Okay, so that's why it's a positive 1. And the difference between 5 and 4 is 1. And again, positive because the 5 is bigger. 2 times 8 is 16. 2 plus 8 is 10. 6 times a negative 8 is a negative 48. And 6 and a negative 8 is, when you add it, a negative 2. So you see in this case, again, these were different signs. I got a negative product. And then with the numbers, the 6 and the 8, I'm actually taking the difference between them. I'm really subtracting them and then taking the sign of the bigger number. That's why it's a negative 2. Okay. So let's run through the rest of these. So this is going to be a 24 and a 14. The next one, 10 and negative 10, multiply to a negative 100. And they're going to add to a 0. Negative 8 and 2, multiply to a negative 16, and add to a negative 6. 7 and negative 1, multiply to a negative 7, and add to a positive 6. On the next ones, negative 10 and 11, multiply to negative 10, add to a positive 1. Negative 5 and negative 2, multiply to 10 and add to a negative 7. 6 and 3, multiply to an 18 and add to a 9. Negative 11 and negative 1, multiply to an 11 and add to a negative 12. Nine and 1, multiply to 9, add to 10. Negative 8 and 10, multiply to a negative 80, add to a 2. 5 and negative 12, multiply to a negative 60, and add to a negative 7. -5 and -11, multiply to a +55 and add to a -16. -4 and -8, multiply to a 32, add to a -12. 8 and -11, add to a, multiply to a -88 and add to a -3. 3 and 4, multiply to a +12 and add to a +7. 8 and -2, multiply to a -16 and add to a +6. -12 and 6, multiply to a -72 and add to a -6. 10 and 2, multiply to a 20 and add to a 12. -2 and 4, multiply to -8, add to a 2. 4 and -1, multiply to a -4 and add to a +3. -4 times 10 is a -40, adds to a 6. 5 and 7, multiply to a 35, add to a 12. 10 and -6, multiply to a -60, add to a 4. 9 and 5, multiply to a 45, and add to a 14. And again, a couple things just to remember. When you have different signs, your product is always going to be negative. The numbers to get the sum, you're really taking 4 and 10 and finding the difference between them and taking the sign of the bigger number. This one is the bigger number, so this is positive. Where up here, this is the bigger number, so this is negative. Okay, when you have both positive or you have both of them being negative, like we had up here on the first one, then you're always going to get a positive product. And when we are doing the math, if they are the same signs, you're going to combine them. 3 and 11 make 14 and take the sign that they are negative. Okay. So now we're going to switch over to our composition book and we're going to add some notes in. So I'm calling this section Intro to Integrated 2. The other day we took some notes kind of on a worksheet where we were practicing multiplying binomials. We're using the box method. We'll add that in on a different day. Today I want to focus on that particular type of problem. We're dealing with diamond problems and we're dealing with multiplying binomials. We're going to see that there's a relationship between these. Okay, so diamond problems and multiplying binomials. So I'm going to write my title on my page. Diamond problems and multiplying binomials. Now, today we're doing the notes in our composition book. You don't have to turn them into me. We're going to be turning in the worksheet we were just doing on the diamond problems and the back side of it, which is going to be multiplying binomials. That's what you're going to turn into me. Okay, so this is just for you guys to put in your comp book for next year, so you guys are ready for integrated 2. Okay, so example 1, multiply the following binomials. Okay, and I'm going to have 4 of them. Okay, I'm going to write 2 and then 2 again and give some space for us to do our work. So x plus 3, x plus 2, b, x minus 5, x minus 10, c, and again, give yourself some space, x plus 4, x minus 7, d, x plus 6, x minus 3. So again, we're going to be doing the box method. We have binomial and binomial, 2 terms, 2 terms. So we're going to have a 2 by 2 box. And on the outside, I'm going to have x, and then it doesn't matter if I put the plus 3 one or the x plus 2. Okay, if I put x plus 3 here, I'm going to put x plus 2 here. And then remember, I'm going to multiply x with x, and I'm going to get, I'm going to do it in a different color, x squared, x times 3, 3x. 2 is going to multiply with both of these, so 2x. And 2 times 3 is 6. Now, this is not my answer. I need to actually write out my answer. So my answer is x squared plus, and I combine like terms, 5x plus 6. That is my answer. Okay, that is my answer. So right now I'd like for you guys to try these problems, okay? Try them on your own. And again, if you want to at this point pause, work them out, and then come back and check your answers, okay? So if you want to pause right now, okay? And then come back and work out those problems. Okay, so you should have set them all up like this. Let me just run through the answers real quick. X squared minus 5x, negative 10x, positive 50. Okay, so when I do this, I end up with x squared minus 15x plus 50. That is my answer. Okay. So now, the next one, I have x squared, I have a 4x, I have a negative 7x, and a negative 28. And my final answer is x squared minus 3x minus 28. Okay, that's what you should have gotten. The next one, x plus 6x minus 3. So that's going to give me an x squared, a 6x, a negative 3x, and a negative 18. So I end up with x squared plus 3x minus 18. Okay, and that's our answers. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to add in 4 problems that are diamonds. Okay. So example 2, complete the following diamond problems. So I'm going to write 4 going across. First one, 3 and 2. Second one, negative 5, negative 10. Third one, 4, negative 7. And last one, 6 and negative 3. So if you guys want to pause right now, work these out, and then come check your answers, okay? So pause. Okay, so working these out, I should have gotten 6 when you multiply, 5 when you add, 50 when you multiply, negative 15 when you add, negative 28 when you multiply, negative 3 when you add, negative 18 when you multiply, 3 when you add. Okay. Now, I'm going to move this and shrink it for a sec so that we can see all of these problems. Oops, wrong direction. Okay. And what I want us to see is if we can notice any relationship between these problems that I did here and these problems that I did here, to see why in the world are we doing all of these together. So you might recognize here that On the sides, I have a 3 and a 2. And this first problem up here, I had an x plus 3 and an x plus 2. This one here, I had a -5 and a -10. I had a -5 and an x minus 10. This one here, I had a 4 and a -7. I had a 4 and a -7. I had a 6 and a -3. I have a 6 and a -3. And then what you also want to notice is that my 6 and 5, you see here, 5 is my sum, 6 was my product. I had a 5x because I had a 2x and a 3x, but 3 times 2 gave me 6. Again, here 50 and -15. Your sum was a -15x, your product was 50. Here, your sum was a -3, your product was a -28. Your product here was a -18, your sum was the 3. So these types of problems where you have x plus a number or x minus a number, not with a number in front of it, cannot be like a 2x or a 3x. It has to be an x and an x. You can, instead of doing it as a box, you can actually think of it as a diamond. These numbers here are going to be the sides. You're going to multiply them to get the top, which is going to be your constant, okay, the number without the x. You're going to add them to get the number in front of your x, okay? So I'm going to go through 2 examples like this. So example 3, use a diamond problem to multiply the following binomials. Okay, so I'm going to go through 2. So let's say one of my problems was x minus 5, x plus 4. And I had another one that was x plus 4, x plus 6. Okay, now again, we can do it with a box, but we can also use a diamond. And actually, I think on this one, hold on. Well, I said we'll keep this as an x minus 5, x plus 5. That's fine. So for this, I'm going to have a -5 and a +5. So when I multiply these together, I get a -25. And when I add them together, I get a 0. This number is the one that's your number in front of x. And this, your product, is your constant. It's the number at the end. So remember, for all of these problems, you're going to have an x times an x, which gives you the x squared. We're just trying to find the number in front of the x. So we're going to get 0x, and then we're going to get -25. Now, I can really clean this up, and this is going to be an x squared minus 25, and that's your answer. This one over here, I'm going to have a 4 and a 6. That is going to multiply to a +24 and add to a 10. So my final answer, again, we don't leave it like in a box. We have to combine. With a diamond, you got to write out also. So this is x squared. This is going to be 10x plus 24. Again, that is number in front of x. That's what we're adding our x's. And this product is our constant. Okay, so that's the end of these notes. So we're going to head back to our worksheet. We're going to get on the back side of it, and we're going to be multiplying binomials using this method, using the diamonds. So on these have different letters. They aren't all X, but again, it's just a B and a B. It's not like a 2B or a 3B. Has to be where you have just a B, with no number in front, in both of them. So notice all of these are like that. Okay, none of these have a number in front. So we can use the diamond. Okay, so I'm going to set up my diamond. So I'm going to get a -5 on one side, 9 on the other side. Then I am going to multiply these together. And when I multiply them together, I get a -45. And I'm going to add them together. And when I add them, I get a +4. And so my answer is going to be x squared plus 4x minus 45. Again, the bottom number is going to be the number in front of your x, the sum, and the product is going to be the constant. Okay, and that's your answer. So right now I'm going to write the word pause. I want you guys to pause right now and the video and try these problems. Okay, and then I'll be back and we'll check your answer. Okay, so I'm just going to run through them going down the page. Okay, so this was -4 and 7 on the sides, which should have given you a -28 and a 3. So this should have been k squared plus 3k minus 28. And over here, I'm noticing these are actually b's. So I'm going to write it with the b's. Okay, so these were b's. So I really should have written this as a b squared plus 4b minus 45. Okay, what does that equal? Okay, now this one here, again, k squared plus 3k minus 28. That's what you should have gotten there. The next one, we should have gotten here. Let me scooch it up a little bit more so we can get both of these in here. Okay, so we should have gotten a -12 and a 4. So these are y's, so y squared plus 4y minus 12. This one over here, 5 and -2 on the side, we get a -10 and it adds to a 3. These are p's, so p squared plus 3p minus 10. Down here, I have a 5 and a -4. Those multiply to -20, add to 1. These are s's, so this is s squared plus 1s, or you can even just write s minus 20. Over here, -8 and 2 give me a -16 when I multiply and a -6 when I add. These have c's, so this is going to be c squared minus 6c minus 16. Okay. And the last 4 here, this is going -7 and 9, give us a -63, add to a 2, p squared plus 2p minus 63. Over here, -2 and 9, -18, add to a 7, and it's g squared plus 7g minus 18. Over here, 9 times -5 is a -45, adds to a 4. So this is going to be h squared plus 4h minus 45. And over here, 9 and -6, it's going to be a -54. It's going to add to a 3. So I get q squared plus 3q minus 54. Okay, and so you can submit this plus the diamond, it's all on one, in as classwork. Today's homework is going to be review of chapter 1.5, which was our equation week, so it's solving equations. Next time we have class, we're going to again do more of these types of problems. This is a huge focus in integrated 2, so I just want to keep introducing it to you guys. And I'll see you next class.